could talk about harmony. And harmony is something that for a while I didn't really know what it meant. And like I would hear the word harmony and be like, what even is that? What does it mean to live a life in harmony? What does it mean to feel harmony? And lately, I've become more and more aware of what harmony truly means when it's applied to living life, when it's applied to how we function through our day-to-day world. And you can start to think about harmony is like an energy of the heart. Harmony is being in line with cycles of growth, cycles of change. And you can think of harmony in relation to like the seasons on this planet. And maybe we live in a place that doesn't have a lot of seasons, but I'm in the Midwest and we have all four seasons. And you can think of these seasons as the cycles of change we go through in our life. And there's going to be seasons where maybe a lot of new things are coming into our life. And you can almost think of that as spring, of planting seeds, watering, fertilizing those seeds, watching those seeds grow into the most beautiful flowers and fruits and vegetables. And then summer comes, and eventually we get to a point of harvesting these fruits and vegetables, and fall hits, and then winter. And there's going to be stages in your life where a lot of new things are coming in. There's going to be stages in your life where a lot of things are coming to an end, or there might be a lot less new in our life, which you could think of as a season of winter, but winter always fertilizes the ground for new growth coming next spring. Winter is what helps things decompose. It helps fill the soil up with greater nutrients that prepares that soil for its next spring. And so when we're thinking about harmony, what if like what is happening in our life in this moment is not something I need to change, but it's something to work with? Right? If I'm in a season of winter, I'm not trying to fight winter and telling winter to go away, because that doesn't work. You can't change the cycle of growth you're in. All you can do is create in alignment with that cycle. And what does that look like? But I would say that looks like when we're in a season of maybe winter, of feeling like we need a little bit more rest, feeling like maybe we want to go out a little less, or want to do things that are more aligned with self-care than we typically would. Like winter is really an energy of cocooning ourselves and preparing ourselves to come back out even a better version of ourselves. And if we have cocooned for months, it might be something to look at. Do I still need to cocoon myself, or am I ready to rest a little less and go out into the world a little bit more? And there will be times where you will need a little bit more rest, maybe after a relationship ending, after major losses in your life, or maybe we're just going through a big energetic change and it feels like our nervous system's being rewired. And I've definitely had times in my life where I've felt a lot more agitated easily, or just felt a lot more shaky within my body. And looking back, I realized it was because energetically my nervous system was going through a big change, and I was dropping into a deeper level of peace and relaxation. And what I needed during that time was to still do the things I had to get done, still do the things that, like, I was like, one of the times I went through this was in college. And so I was still going to classes, getting my work done. But when I didn't have to do that, taking time to settle in my body and doing things that were relaxing and nourishing to my body more during that time to help my nervous system anchor the change that was happening in it. And so, can we become aware of what if the things that are happening in my life, whether I'm going through a lot of new beginnings or a lot of endings, is not anything I'm doing right or wrong, is not anything that I need to change? And the question is, what do I need to help me through this time? And if I feel like I'm in a season of winter, but I really am craving connection or touch, maybe that means going out and doing that, listening to your desires and needs, but just being aware of, I might be in a season where I need a little more rest than what I typically would need in a different season of my life. And can that be okay? And I think that really, when we're in harmony, it's just listening to, if my body feels like it needs a little bit more of something, I listen to that. And I'm also aware of, I might be in a season, no matter what the seasons are like outside of me, where I might need to take things a little slower. And May and April that we just went through were very intense, energetic months, and the world is going through a lot of changes, not even on a political or a global level, but like even deeper on an energetic level. And this is a time where those who are in the light, their light is getting turned on, and new higher frequencies are getting anchored in their body that that are higher than have ever been anchored before in like in the recent human history. And so we might find that in May we might need a little bit more rest. We might find that our energy gets drained a little bit quicker, and that doesn't mean I need to spend every day alone. That just means I'm mindful of that as I go and do things and live my life. And I'm not hard on myself for wanting to leave an event early, or for wanting to take a day instead of going out, to take a day where I just hang out with myself. And that being said, the flip side is, if I felt like I've been in a season where I've been inside for months and not really going out at all, and I keep on coming up with reasons on why I need to stay cocooning and not venture more out into the world, our ego tends to build up ideas about things or perceive life through whatever we do the most. And so if we are consistently always spending time alone, our ego is going to come up with ideas and see life through a lens of perception that will be a reminder of, or be an enforcer of, why I need to keep on doing what I always do, which, if we're staying in, would be staying in every night. And so that's something to be aware of. And even if I'm someone who is like, my body doesn't feel healthy, maybe I'm sick, maybe you have some type of disease that wears you out quite quickly. The question is, can I still go out and do things? And maybe I just like go to an event, but I just stay for like 20, 30 minutes. And so I'm still going out and spending time around people and helping break the habit of me staying in every day, while still listening to the needs of my body. And like, we never want, structure is great, but we never want to get in a state where we are living the same day over and over again, and then using what's happening in our life as a reason why we need to stay the same, because love and growth is through change. And so, can we introduce a little bit more change in our life, which would actually be balance, and it would actually be greater harmony, which if we are walking the path of enlightenment or an ascension, or just embodying more of our power, that really is the most efficient path to be walking, which is balance and finding harmony, and even changing up my rhythms somewhat regularly to invite more growth into my life. And it's something I've been realizing lately is like I have I'm very into like the work of Diana Cooper and Alunya Noel, and they do visualizations. And for a while, I was doing like a couple, like pretty consistently, like maybe like 2 hours or more of visualizations almost every day, or pretty close to every day. And what I've been realizing lately is that connecting to higher realms is beautiful, but it also, if we're constantly connecting to higher realms, our body is a body anchored in a denser vibration of earth. And if we're spending too much time in higher realms, it's going to unground us. And even if we're spending like an hour meditating every day, even that can be a little ungrounding if we're doing it every single day. And so, whatever practice we're doing, if we do it a little bit less, we might find we have an easier time getting things done in our day, an easier time being more focused and direct and efficient in how we move through our day because we're more grounded. And if we're constantly connecting to higher realms or even doing things that are really positive, like breath work or prayer, but we're overdoing it, it's gonna, wrote about this in the description of the last video I posted on like letting go of holding back, but it's going to like raise the anchor that anchors us to this life. And then we are going to be a boat in the water, easily swayed because we're ungrounded or we're connecting so much to higher realms that it's actually knocking us out of balance and making it hard to be in this realm on earth. And so whatever spiritual practice we do, it's about balance. And I don't need to spend hours a day on spiritual practice and ignore areas of my life like keeping my apartment clean, connecting with friends, or putting myself out there to meet new people or going to events. Like, can we work to find balance in maybe you do spiritual practice, but it doesn't need to be all consuming and it doesn't need to even be the largest portion of your life. And you might find that you actually are living a more fulfilling and efficient and feel more at ease in yourself if you scale down your practice of spirituality a little, where if you're doing it for a couple hours, maybe you just do it for an hour or two, like every other day or yeah, like I would say every other day, or just taking a break here and there where your body has time to adjust and recalibrate. And we all have to listen in and feel in our body. And it's just something to be aware of is like, these are suggestions. We'll all have to figure out what's true for our own unique journey. But am I like meditating every day for an hour, an hour a day, or and then do I have a hard time focusing on getting things done in my life? And if that is true, maybe I need to meditate a little bit less or start my day out differently. Like, I know for me, one of the most grounding things I can do is start my day with a workout. And whenever I work out in the morning, which I don't always do, but when I do, I always know I have a more productive and efficient day because like exercising your body is grounding you into your body deeper, grounding the energy of your soul into your physical vessel. And as we learn to be grounded is when we learn to find balance from connecting to higher realms and living our life on earth, which is the real path of ascension. Like they talk about in spirituality, you'll hear people talk about the middle way. And I'd say the middle way is taking time to connect to higher consciousness and then taking that higher consciousness and applying it to your life and merging the heaven and earth as one. And something else I wanted to talk about harmony. I'm going to talk about harmony as in harmony as I'm not harming myself or putting myself in positions where I'm being harmed, right? And then I'll talk about harmony as moving slowly and intentionally. So, first, to talk about harmony as in I'm not putting myself in positions to being harmed is anytime I'm being actively harmed by a person or even just by where I'm actively harming myself, I am out of alignment with the will of my heart, which is love. There is never a time where you need to harm another person in order to teach them a lesson. There is never another time where you need to dominate another person in order to help them know what's right and what's wrong. And there is never a time where harming yourself is helpful through substances, through self-harm, or whatever. That anytime we are harming ourselves, we are out of alignment with divinity. Anytime someone else is harming us, they are out of alignment with divinity, and no one deserves to be harmed. And when people are harmed, they're acting from their unconscious history of pain that lives to harm things, lives to destroy, and destroy out of alignment with divinity. And they're ignoring the energy and the presence of their soul, or they're pushing their energy of their soul as far back away from them as they possibly can, because you do have choices in what you align with. And you have choices to align every day. You have choices to align with anger, force, and aggression. And anger is okay to express, but if we are expressing it towards someone in an aggressive, dominating way, that most likely is harming them and not helping them. And if we're coming from a place of domination and aggressive and force, I heard someone else teach this and I thought it was like one of the deepest things I've ever heard is like, if you are forcing your opinions onto someone, if you are forcing someone to do something they don't want to do, you are saying that you also don't fully believe in whatever you're forcing onto them. Because if you truly believed in if you truly believed that what you were forcing onto them was right, you wouldn't need to force it. And you would think, well, they'll find their way to it eventually. If it's aligned in truth, everything is moving in a direction of greater and greater truth. And we might be seeing people fighting that in the world, but truth always wins. And truth is always wearing down that fight to eventually surrender to telling the truth, being in alignment with truth, being in alignment with integrity. And so when we're thinking, and if you think I need to force this belief on this person, or even like the religious perspective of if they don't believe this, they're going to go to hell, you are saying that that isn't true, because what is true always wins and it doesn't need to be forced. And people are always finding their way back to greater and greater truth, even if it's really slow or even if it takes them a couple lifetimes. And so when we're aligned in truth, we share what we know without attachment to whether that person picks it up or not. And there's never a time when we should be in situations where we're being abused, mistreated, neglected, where maybe someone does something that makes us sob in mistreatment, and then they flip it and then blame us for why we're sobbing and ignore how their actions are affecting us. If we're in a situation like that, it's time to leave that situation. And it's time to align ourselves in harmony, which harmony is safety from my heart. Safety from any abuse and mistreatment. And sure, things are going to happen in your life that are spontaneous, where someone yells at you, or like I've gone on the train before and someone's trying to get off and they just shoved me back so they could get off the train. Sometimes things are going to happen that don't feel good, and we didn't do anything wrong to manifest that. People are just on their own journeys of aligning themselves with gentleness and kindness, and it's a jungle out in the world. And sometimes you're going to have experiences that are spontaneous that don't really feel good, but we shouldn't keep on going back to those people who are mistreating us or abusing us, because then we are just causing greater and greater harm for our heart and being reminded more of unworthiness and lack and pain, rather than the unconditional love of the universe, because the universe looks at you and it thinks you are the most beautiful, stunning creation of a human it has ever seen. For each and every human on this planet, for each and every human on this planet, the divine holds in the deepest level of love and respect and kindness and care. And when people are acting different, acting opposite of that towards us, they're saying that they are too lost in hurt and pain to be able to remember their own divinity or remember another person's divinity. And you would be best served by giving that person space, because isolation and aloneness is often one of the greatest ways to dig deeper than our surface level pain and remember the light of our soul within us. And so we're always best leaving abusive, mistreating situations, because when we leave, it's clearing the space for that person to no longer have a distraction of something outside of themselves that keeps them distracted enough to avoid the deeper love and light that's always been within them, that they're ignoring or choosing not to align with. And people that are hurting are just saying that how I was hurt in the past was so egregious that it made me completely forget the deeper love within my heart. And all I learned was hurt. And so I relate to others what's most familiar to me, which is hurt and pain. And so we have compassion for those people, but we don't need to spend time with those people on any level. And this life, just to finish out what I was this life is your higher self, God's divinity's greatest dream. Its most wildest dream and fantasy is the life you are living. And whether you see that or whether all you see is why you suck and why everything is wrong and how you're never good enough, is just the lens of perception that you're seeing life through. If you asked what your soul is saying to you in this moment, it would be saying, you are the most beautiful, stunning human I have ever seen. I'm in love with everything you do right. I'm in love with everything you do wrong. And I'm fully in love, and I freaking love watching the movie of your life, because it is the greatest movie I have ever imagined or seen or created. And our soul, if you were here, it would talk to you in constant encouragement, constant compliment, constant reminders of how awesome and amazing and incredible you are. And if you're not hearing that, what if it's because you're talking to yourself in the way your parents or your upbringing hurt you, rather than talking to yourself from that alignment? And if we just changed how we talk to ourselves, changed, even if we thought like egregious thoughts, what if you just said, thank you, I love those thoughts, and thank you for those thoughts being my most amazing creation yet. And when you can honor something is when it starts to change and shift. And it's the same with whatever we're trying to heal in our body. If we're doing some repetitive healing practice, or are like doing a shit ton of breath work or prayer or visualization to try and shift something, either in how we are or some illness in our body, it's almost like telling the universe, I'm not ready to receive that because I haven't learned to honor my experience as it is. And then the universe will give you setbacks in whatever you're trying to heal, as a way of helping you sit in the experience you're trying to run from by overdoing healing work. And we're all just going to have to feel into our heart of what feels harmonious for how much or how little healing work we need to do in order to help our body, or in order to help ourselves become who we want to be. And for me, like, I learned this through a knee injury. And like, I used to, for a very long time, angel visualizations because it would take away some of the pain in my knee from Diana Cooper. And I would do like a lot. I would do like an hour or a couple hours, like pretty much every day. And it would help my knee to an extent, but then I would manifest experiences where something would happen and my knee would get re-injured and I'd be back to ground zero again. And that happened multiple times. And I learned it was because I was trying to run from the experience of what I actually needed, which was the experience I was having with a knee injury. When we're running from an experience, we're not honoring it. If we're constantly trying to run and find and seek our next partner, we're not honoring the experience we're having of being alone. And the universe will just give you more time over striving, more time over seeking, more time over repetitively doing healing practices until you learn, maybe I just need to move a little bit slower. Maybe I need to move more aligned in harmony. And maybe I don't even need to overstride, search, and seek it all. And I do, and when we're looking for a partner, I would even say, sure, it's about going out into the world and going to events and trying new things, but it's also about who are you? Because the universe is never going to give you a soulmate if you can't handle it. Like imagine your deepest, most loving relationship. It's not going to give that relationship to someone who's still relating to life as a child. Who's someone who's still living in avoidance, living in an anxious attachment style. And the universe waits for you, life to wear you down, for you to become the person or version of yourself, your most amazing version of yourself, of someone who could actually handle that relationship. And the moment you can handle it is the moment that relationship steps into your life. And I would actually even say, like, when we're thinking about dating, is we don't need to date people at all in order to attract the right person, because it's attracting the right person. This isn't like some type of dragon quest where you need to like go and walk the path of slaying a dragon, and behind the dragon is your damsel that's been waiting for you to date as many people as you could till you were ready for that person, or to go to a bunch of different yoga studios until you found the right person. No, that's not how it works. It's like the ridiculous. But when we're thinking about our soulmate is one, who are you? And how do you imagine yourself with this person? And if you imagine yourself keeping your apartment super clean, being on top of your finances, living a life like creating a career that's fully aligned with what you're passionate about, or maybe even being more relaxed, more peaceful, more calm. The question is, what can I change in this moment to be more like that? And it's not about getting it perfectly, but can I just try to, if I imagine a better version of myself with this partner, what can I do to become that version of myself now without this partner? And in truth, your soulmate always lives within your heart. And it's never about finding them outside of you. It's about connecting with yourself so deeply and being aligned with integrity, which means I'm not giving my heart, I'm not having, and I'm not creating overly strong attachments to people who are out of alignment with a deeper relationship for me. And your soulmate is one person, it's not 20. And you're not going to be in alignment with your highest integrity, in alignment with the highest harmony of your heart, if you're constantly trying to date new people, constantly trying to have sex with new people. Because anytime we have sex with someone, anytime we commit to dating someone, we are forming a stronger attachment to them. And if that And a stronger attachment with the wrong person is called out of balance or out of harmony, and it's out of integrity with your highest value, and it's out of integrity with the soulmate that is waiting for you to fully turn towards yourself and become the best version of yourself that then would actually manifest that soulmate into physical reality that would attract them to you. And that's what's real harmony is when we're thinking about dating is I'm okay. I let the part of me that searches and seeks for a partner to fully die. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to find a partner, but it means that the part of myself that felt like it needed a partner to validate itself or needed a partner to feel fully loved or accepted or worthy dies as I stop seeking and I learn to give that to myself first. And as you give it to yourself, you will then become a person who starts to change how they handle their life and how they move and how they keep their apartment clean and handle their finances. And you will just then become the person that could actually welcome that partner into your life. And the fastest way to grow is love. The fastest way to grow is compliments and encouragement. And if we wish to see more beauty in ourselves, can we just be the first person to take that initiative and call like brushing your teeth every morning when things are or when we're like falling down and something went wrong that we didn't plan. Can we just go, I love you, honey. You're doing amazing. Try again. You're the most beautiful, stunning, incredible person I've ever seen. It feels so good to live this life as you. I fucking love you. You're doing the best job you can. And I know that next time you will do even better. Right? Like when a parent, like if we had good parents, when a parent is watching the child try and walk, and the child falls down, the parent doesn't, a loving parent wouldn't berate the baby for falling down. And what if we looked at the things we're trying to create in our life or the relationships we're trying to start with friends, or maybe we found a partner that feels super aligned? And what if we make a mistake, we get triggered, something ends up not working out how we planned? Instead of berating ourselves or beating ourselves up, what if we just said, I love you, honey. You're doing amazing. And I know even next time you'll do better. And thank you for trying so hard to make it work this time. And, I talk about dating and I don't want to, I'm not trying to create greater shame and guilt. And I understand that a lot of people don't really relate to life how I relate to life, or from the perspective of it's about who I am, not how much I strive in the world. And we still need to strive in the world, but it's not the most important part. The most important part is who you are. And then it's about taking intentional, slow actions. Most of the time, maybe sometimes we need to take a little quicker action, but intentional, slow actions towards what I'm trying to create. And if we can relate to life like that, and if we can let go of our seeking and just get to know people, put ourselves out there, but take it from this is a friend, because 98% of the people you meet, 99% of the people you meet will be friends. No matter how hot they are, if you really got to know them, you would see why it wasn't aligned, or maybe you are the person who you feel like could handle a partner, and maybe as you get to know them, you see why it is fully aligned. But you only really see people when you take it slowly and you take the time to get to know them. And it's the same with whatever we're trying to create in our life is it's okay to move slowly, and we actually see people, situations, choices a heck of a lot clearer when we move slower in life, and that is alignment with harmony. Harmony is slow rhythms. Harmony most of the time is not going to be big jolts on the rhythm scale. Um, I feel like that might be a good place to wrap up for today. And I just want to thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention. I love you all so much. I hope this talk was helpful. And no matter how much of harm we act out on ourselves, or even if we're in a harmful situation, or even if we're obsessed about dating people who aren't the right people for us, or having sex with people that aren't the right people for us. We don't need to feel like, if we feel shame and guilt, the shame and guilt is, I might just be time for me to make a change, and I'm not doing anything that's wrong. I'm just playing out what I need to play out to then make a better choice. And I'm just here to help highlight to you what might be a better choice in your life. And I hope that whatever choices we're making, we can be more soft, kind, gentle to ourselves, and look at what is the direction I need to move in that will align me in my greatest integrity, that will align me away from self-harm, and that will help me find greater peace and harmony in my life. Thank you for listening. Bye.